Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Tiny Brains podcast. I'm Kevin Joyce, CEO at Tiny Brains, and with me, as ever, is Peter Graham, the Brigadier of Brains.
Good afternoon, all.
So, what we do on this podcast, if you're new, is we take a look at the biggest stories from XR from the previous week, and we're going to dive in with a pretty big one. Big boy Google is back.
Yeah, with Google I/O, their annual conference. Naturally, if you've maybe even heard a little inkling of what was going on at the events, it was mainly AI, huge amounts of AI, which we're not really going to cover here today. But there was a little sprinkling of I say VR, AR tech in the form of smart glasses and Android XR. And we had a couple of little announcements that came out of there. One was a partnership with, let me get this right, a couple of eyewear makers called Warby Parker and Gentle Monster. Warby is US based, and Gentle Monster is Korean. Uh, and that is going to be in terms of Google making their smart glasses. Now, kind of similar to Meta partnering with Excelsior Lexocutor. I can never say that properly. Um, Google has partnered with these two guys to make, their future smart glasses look all funky and sexy, which, tech companies can't really do without some outside help. So that's part of the news, which, it's all right, I suppose. Hi, Kev.
As we've been saying on this podcast, basically every week this year, these are steps that we need to get AR, an everyday smart glass apparel for everybody. Steps that need to be taken. And once again, nearly 6 months in, we're still seeing we are going down that road in 2025. It's all good news.
Exactly. And going on those steps, there was another demonstration of Google's AR glasses. These are very prototype. We've previously spoken about these. They were shown at a TED event. I think it was last month, and they made a reappearance with a slightly modified tech demo. It was a little bit glitchy in places, but again, shows those steps. The other big and oh, go on, Kev.
No, have you got more? Oh yeah, of course we've got more from IO. Yeah.
We've got more. The other big announcement was Project Aura, and this was in conjunction with Xreal. Now, Xreal have been doing AR glasses of various forms for quite a few years now. They're one of the biggest players in there, and now they're partnered with Google. And Project Aura will be an Android XR set of smart glasses. Have you seen about this, Kev?
I have, yes. It slipped my mind for a moment, but yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, more smart glasses, more XR, more.
Yeah. Now these are going to go a bit more down the lines of the Magic Leap and those type of devices where it's going to have an external compute puck. You're not going to wirelessly connect to your phone or anything, and it's not going to be onboard processing. So it is going to be a compute puck, which will mean it can do far better AR than you know, well, smart glasses that just have it all on board. But they are also going to be the second official pair of Android XR devices coming to the market. I don't know when this is, there's no specs or anything. The first official one's going to be Samsung's Project Muhan, which is going to be later this year. So maybe we might see these smart glasses at the end of the year after Muhan, or maybe probably more likely into next year.
This for me is the jumping off point. This is where my interest in my personal wallet starts opening for AR glasses.
Well, you're going to have a lot of choice in the next
Yeah,
18 months, I would have thought.
I hope so. And one other choice that we're getting, so Google jumping out and going all smart glassy, and now one of their biggest competitors decided to start speaking up as well.
Yes, good old Apple are going into getting smart glasses. They've got into the spatial computing, as they like to call it, not VR or AR, and they're getting into the smart glasses business as well. Now, this has been previously rumored anyway. There were reports that they were looking at releasing some sort of, you know, device in 2027. But new reports suggest that, in actual fact, they're because of all this competition that's coming out, they're actually gearing up for an earlier launch. They're possibly 2026, late 2026, rather than the year after. And they, at the moment, they're in the process of developing quite a few prototypes that maybe a few reviewers might see by the end of this year, which could be which would be quite interesting. Again, these are going to be smart glasses. These aren't going to, well, from what we can tell, these are going to be smart glasses. They're labeled as smart glasses and not AR glasses. Again, like Meta, cameras, microphones, speakers, that sort of stuff.
No, no displays essentially.
No displays. Yeah, exactly.
So moving on, we have some news. We're going to stick with the big guys, right? Big players this week. We're going to talk about Oculus. Remember that name?
This is a bit of a blast from the past, and this is down to the ex or previous CEO, Brendan Iribe. Now, he was part of the original sort of founding cohort for Oculus, alongside Palmer Luckey, Nate Mitchell, and Michael Abrash. If I
And
remember,
Carmack.
I think Carmack as well. I don't know if is he classed as part of the founding. I think so,
I
isn't he?
mean, I mean, he gave me my first demo of a Rift. So,
But essentially, Iribe went onto social media recently and talking about the the ill-fated Oculus Go. Now, this was at the time Oculus's first foray into standalone hardware. They had the Oculus Rift, which was PC, and they decided to go 3DOF, and it didn't particularly go very well. And that this was launched, I must state that this was launched after Iribe had left. He was, as I said, CEO until 2016. And by this point, by the time Oculus Go launched in 2018, it was Hugo Barra that was now CEO. But he's been talking about how that he thought, well, it's not a good idea. Six off was really the way forward, and as we, as we know in hindsight, Oculus Go didn't really have that long a life, did it?
well, I always saw Oculus Go as a stepping stone anyway. I never thought it was intended to have a long lifespan. It was a, we're going to put this out in the market and see what the reception is, rather than this is our play for the platform. You can't actually see it, but I still have my Oculus Go on a shelf behind me, and I think it was okay for the time. It was saying VR is not Google Cardboard. That's what it was trying to do. While we waited for a Quest, the initial Quest, and yeah, I think he was a bit harsh on it, if I'm honest.
Well, yeah, I would agree partially. It had its place. It was great in organized like museums. It was used in there so they could provide a virtual immersive experience, looking at a dinosaur or whatever else. So it did have its place, but yeah, I don't know whether all the investment for creating this piece of hardware was, long term was worth it. But yeah,
But it was a stepping stone. We constantly talk about stepping stones on
yeah,
this podcast. It was a stepping stone
yeah.
to the Quest.
Are
And
we all?
sticking with Quest, we've got some update about software, firmware. No, this is software, right?
Yeah,
On the Quest.
it's not the most exciting news, but it's news that will, have a lasting impact because Meta have announced they're essentially doing a UI overhaul. So if you love the current Quest UI, expect it to change in the next few months. The version 77 update is going to massively change all the user interface. It has begun rolling out this past week, but only to select users on the public, what was it, public test channel that they have. So if you're part of that, you might already be using it, but for everyone else, expect it to come in the next few months, and it is completely redesigned. It's supposedly going to make accessing apps and quick actions and all that stuff much easier, as a lot of these UI updates always profess. Whether they will or not will remain to see.
I just want a blade system. Bring back the blades.
All right, okay, really? Is that what you
Yeah,
want?
do some VR blades. That was good. Um, Finally, we're going to round up with some gaming news as we always do, and this time we have something new from the team that brought you budget cuts.
Yes, a Neat Corp has, Kev rightly says, they were the team behind the Budget Cuts franchise, and we've not really heard much from Neat Corp since Budget Cuts Ultimate, which is a
Yeah,
compendium of
several
those games.
repackagings of budget cuts.
Exactly. But now they've come out with revealed their next game, and as seems to be the trend at the moment, it's a roguelite. Uh, and it's called Crossings. And it's based on Norse mythology. And it's going to have co-op features, and it's going to come to Quest and Steam. No dates yet, but this is their next game, and it looks cool from what I've seen so far. Have you seen it, Kit?
No, I haven't. I heard the name and the studio, but I have not gone and watched the trailer or anything yet. Maybe I will after the recording this podcast.
Oh, maybe. And if you see the trailer and you like the look of it, keep an eye out for Steam Next Fest in October because they will be releasing a demo of Crossings during that week. So you get to play it a little bit.
So we can imagine a late 2025, early 2026 release then, I'd imagine.
I would imagine, yeah.
Good stuff.
Good
Looking
guess.
forward to it. I did like budget cuts.
I was always a fan of budget cuts. Number two was a really good game.
I don't think I played the sequel, but I played the original quite a bit.
Mm, I enjoyed it.
Anyway, that's all we have for this week. As always, if you'd like to reach out to us to discuss any of these stories or any other stories in XR, please do so in any of the myriad of ways that you can contact myself and Peter. And if you have something that you'd like us to discuss, please let us know. We'll see you again next week.